Mums with Hustle podcast, episode 529.
Welcome to the Mums with Hustle podcast, where you'll discover everyday mum entrepreneurs killing it in their industry. Learn the secrets you can replicate to create your own success with your host, Tracy Harris.
Welcome back to the Mums with Hustle podcast. Today I wanted to take you behind the scenes of a recent one-on-one mentoring session that I had with a very established and very successful female entrepreneur. She is not a beginner. Her strategy is solid. Her offers are so aligned. Her funnels are all working. Her visibility is consistent and recognizable. Her money mindset is solid. And so from the outside, everything looks really done and beautiful, right? It can sound like some people's absolute dream. But here's what I know after a decade of mentoring high-level women. When the strategy is handled, the real work is actually able to begin, because the next level of leadership is not about another funnel. It's not about tweaking your sales page headline anymore. And it's not about creating another launch plan and feeling organized. No, it is about who you are becoming. And in this episode, we're going to uncover 3 really powerful growth edges for her, or rather, I'm going to share them with you. And maybe they're going to be some beautiful invitations for your growth too. So the first one that we uncovered in her session was cultivating greater faith, surrender, and also letting go. The second one is increasing autonomy and speeding up her decision making. The third one was infusing more fun and play into life and not just focusing all on the business. So these shifts don't just grow your revenue, they expand your capacity, they elevate your leadership, and they create freedom within so that you're able to just enjoy life more. It's not just about financial freedom, because remember, this individual is already really financially secure and successful. So by the end of this episode, I do want you to feel challenged and stretched in the best way. So stick with me. All right. So I mentioned that one of the first things that I uncovered with this mentee is the need to cultivate greater faith, surrender, and also detachment, which means being able to let go. Because this client was still holding on to a past version of herself. Not in a really obvious way though, but energetically. She had outgrown certain ways of working. She had outgrown certain offers that she still had available. She had outgrown certain rhythms that once worked for her and her family and her household, and now it wasn't working anymore. She had even outgrown certain goals. I was actually at dinner the other night with a group of female entrepreneurs here in Bali that I hosted. And one of the women was sharing how for so many years in her 20s, this woman is now in her 40s, so she's speaking with wisdom and hindsight. She was like, I really just sacrificed so much of my life to achieve these particular goals that she had around making it in the Hollywood industry, as a makeup artist. And she talked about how she left her home country. She talked about, the absolute grind that it was to get into LA and to stay there and then to build up this reputation and to work on all these movie sets. And for so long, that was her dream. And she achieved that. And then she got to okay, so now what? Have you ever had that feeling where you really, really want to achieve something and then you get there and you're just like, okay, I've done that. So now what? That's what I'm talking about when I say outgrowing your goals. It's like you've already achieved that, so what's next? But with this particular client that I was seeing, there was some hesitation around letting go and moving on and just allowing herself to grow and to transform and to step into something new. And it can be a really scary thing when for so long you've been so successful in a particular industry, or you've become really known, or you've become known as the digital entrepreneur that helps people do X or whatever. And now you're no longer wanting to do that and you're wanting to shift and move into something else. That can feel really terrifying, especially when you've built your whole brand around something like that. And what I want to share is it's really normal. It's actually very, very normal. And I think that we need to talk about it in order to normalize it. Because with this client, there was this hesitation around letting go, even of routines and rhythms that once served her and now, no longer did. And so I asked her this question that I'm going to share with you now. What are you clinging to that no longer lights you up? What are you clinging to that no longer lights you up? And sometimes we hold on to things because it used to work, or it once felt really exciting, or it built our identity. That's a huge one. It built our identity. It's like you're just known as that person who does X. Or because it generates predictable income. That's a huge one, especially for those of us that have families. And, it makes you feel safe because it's so familiar and it's so predictable. But growth requires surrender, and surrender requires faith in it working out, faith in making room for something better. So I told her a personal story of mine from 2017, where at the time I had multiple 6-figure revenue streams, like each one bringing in 6 figures or more. And they were working and they were profitable and they were predictable, which is really smart, right? But they just weren't expansive anymore. And it actually felt like I was spinning plates. And so I felt called deeply to create a space, one space, for what would become my social method society. And I had no guarantee that it was going to work. There was no spreadsheet that proved that it was a better move in my business. It was just a knowing. It felt like peace for me to think about getting rid of all of those other things and just offering this. And I had to cancel multiple revenue streams that were paying me really well in order to create space for something better. Not just better revenue-wise, instantly, by the way, but better because I could finally have white space in my week. I could also switch off. It worked better with our family rhythm. It was just better in every single way. And so canceling those other revenue streams was not irresponsible. It was self-leadership, because faith is not passive. Faith is not taking action. Faith is choosing alignment, like choosing what's right, choosing what you know in your bones over what makes sense on paper, which often, gives us that illusion of security. Faith is trusting that when you release something that you've outgrown, that you are creating space for something greater. Otherwise, the opposite is fear and scarcity. It's like, oh, if I let go of this, I'm not going to be able to recreate this or anything better. Like I should just keep going while this is working. So we want to be exercising faith. Like how much faith do you have in things working out for you? So here is an actionable takeaway, because on the podcast I love giving you these. I want you to try to just sit for a moment, and maybe you need to journal on this, but what is one thing that you've outgrown? It could be an offer. It could be seeing all these one-to-one clients all the time. Maybe you're over it. It could be a particular marketing method. It could be a type of client. And you're like, I actually have outgrown over-delivering inside of this one-on-one container. I don't want to do that anymore. It could be a role that you're still playing in your business. You've outgrown that. You're going to replace yourself there. And then I want you to ask, what would it look like to release this? It already feels good. I don't know what people are thinking out there. I don't know what you're wanting to release, but whatever that was, like I just did this beautiful sigh and I was like, okay, there we go. People are releasing. Okay, but you don't have to act immediately also. You don't have to act immediately. But you must tell yourself the truth because your self-leadership begins with you being really, really honest. Okay, so the second thing that I focused on with this mentee was her autonomy. Now, this one's really subtle. She's super capable. She's highly intelligent and she is strategic. But I noticed hesitation in decision-making with this mentee. So it was presenting as overthinking, as revisiting her choices, and as running scenarios repeatedly. And so here's what I want you to understand about these sorts of habits or symptoms. We'll call them symptoms, right? Overthinking can feel like you're being really responsible, like you're discerning, you're sitting there, right? But you're overthinking. And often it's disguised fear. That's what overthinking is, which is the complete opposite of faith, which is what we just talked about. So when you slow down decisions unnecessarily, you create stagnation. Now, I have seen this in myself for a number of years. There was something I wanted to create. I wanted to create my Freedom Filled Business pathway, which is inside of Freedom Filled Business mentorship and my mastermind. And I wanted to create that. I wanted to create the Freedom Filled Business mentorship for years before I did. And my inability to make decisions for many reasons, actually coming down to it, excuses, I was giving my power away. It created stagnation. It became so hard for me to create something new. It became so hard. It was like I was in a freeze. I was overthinking absolutely every single thing. What I want to share with you and what I shared with my mentee is that momentum is a leadership skill. Speed builds up confidence. Momentum is the secret to change. It is the secret to results. You cannot get there by being stagnant. So the more quickly you decide, even if it's not the right decision, I'm going to put this here, it's better than not making a decision at all because you can always course correct. And what you're building when you decide quickly, within reason, is you're building self-trust. And the more you trust yourself, the less you need external validation. So I asked her, whenever she's stalling and she's overthinking, and again, I had a mentor ask me this, where are you outsourcing your authority? Why aren't you already doing this? And that question really landed with her. Because sometimes we are outsourcing our authority by polling everybody else in the room or polling your audience constantly, or we're waiting for reassurance, or we're revisiting decisions that we've already made. And so it's like, you keep saying, I really want to start that membership. I really do want to start that membership, but you don't start the damn membership. Or I really want to quit my job. I really want to quit my job. Or we should really move to Bali. We should really move to the amount of people that say that to me. Give it a go. Come over for 6 months first. That's what we did. Staying emotionally entangled with outcomes. Sometimes we do that as well. But autonomy requires emotional detachment. Again, there's that word. It requires creating a space in between the event and your identity. And I reckon this is one of my biggest struggles in the past. It's everything was just so attached to my identity. I saw this when I was a teacher and when I wanted to leave the teaching profession. And I saw this in entrepreneurship as I've grown and morphed and changed in who I serve and how I serve people. It's just it's all identity based. And so it's creating some separation and some distance between what's happening or what you want to happen, and your identity. If your launch underperforms, for instance, that's just information, it's feedback, or like I say in our mastermind, that's data. If you do a post on Instagram and it flops, also it's just data. If you hire someone and it doesn't work out, let's say they bounce out of there the second like a big project comes along, or the second you give them feedback, it's information, it's data. It is not a reflection of your worth or your identity. And so when you can detach the event from who you are, you can also begin to make decisions much faster. There's no more hesitation and second guessing or overthinking. So I want you to choose one small decision. What's something that you've been deliberating in your mind? I want you to choose something small, like nothing major, but something small. And I want you to make a decision on that quickly, like now. What are you going to do? What's the thing? And maybe it's what's my launch style going to be? Or maybe it's the date that you're going to launch. Or maybe it's if you should hire someone or not. Or maybe it's what you want to call your webinar. Like no more second guessing. No more revisiting it later. No more polling your friends. Like, should you start the podcast? If you've been sitting there thinking about starting the podcast over and over and over again, like how much energy is that wasted? That energy could have gone into creating episodes already. You need to make your decisions. You need to move and you need to trust. Leadership is built in these small, they seem so small, these micro moments, these small steps. Or like I like to say inside of the mastermind, in these reps. You got to do the reps. That's what we say. Okay, so the third area with my mentee that surprised her probably the most, well, something that you got to know about her is she's excellent at experimenting in her business. And that's because she's not a rookie, she's not a beginner, okay? Experimenting is what we do. Entrepreneurship is one giant experiment. And we're going to have more losses than we even have wins. So if you feel uncomfortable about that, that's probably your next leadership edge to work on, or it's an entrepreneurial muscle that needs some development and some support, okay? Because this client, she was excellent at experimenting in her business. She's testing the funnels, she's trying new content formats, she's optimizing her messaging. But when I asked her about her life, that was very structured, that was very predictable, that was very efficient. There was very little to no room for any spontaneity. And this is quite common among the high-performing women that I mentor because they've become so good at optimizing the household, optimizing the kids' routines, optimizing what's for dinner, optimizing morning and evening routines, optimizing everything in the business, optimizing. Women can become so good at this, especially high-performing women, that fun becomes something that is scheduled now. We have to optimize and schedule in the fun. And play becomes something that is earned. But the truth is that fun expands your nervous system. Play builds creativity. Spontaneity strengthens your adaptability muscle. And as entrepreneurs, we need to be adaptable to changing times, changing markets, technology, changing all of the things. So if you want to lead at higher levels, then your life cannot feel rigid. So I asked her, when was the last time you did something just because it felt fun and not productive? And that question opened something for her because leadership, you will find, some of you have already found, it's not just about scaling revenue. It's about expanding your capacity for your own aliveness. That's what freedom is. Freedom-filled business. That's what I help women create. It's about expanding your capacity for your own aliveness. Because what happens when women reach that level of success and they reach those revenue levels, they then realize that they haven't got that aliveness. They haven't truly lived. It's all a bit scheduled, overscheduled, crowded, boring, rigid. And they want more lightness. They want more fun. So ask yourself, what if I broke my routine this week? Oh, she's so bad. Oh, what about this one? What if I worked from somewhere new this week? Ooh. What if I didn't work from home? What if I took myself to a little cute cafe and I made it be a little bit of a moment? I romanticized my whole life. What if I tried something playful this week? Like, take up a random dance class. Go book a tennis court. Take a friend. Ooh. Get on a bicycle. Go ride your bike with your kids. Go have fun. What if I allowed myself to be more spontaneous? Are you going to go out on a school night? Oh, wow. I want you to write down 3 playful changes that you could make this week. Because play turns on your creativity and your imagination. And if you don't think that those are incredibly powerful higher mental faculties that then begin to switch on and be alive in your business as well, then where have you been? You need to go do some brain-based research to understand, because play is not productive. No. So write down 3 playful changes that you could make this week. They don't have to be dramatic. Like I said, go dancing. Take a spontaneous day off. Oh, that one's wild. Try a new creative hobby. Go do a paint and sip class with your friend or alone. Change your workout. Go and book that reformer Pilates class that you wanted to try. Invite a friend to something random. Take the family out on a weekday to the park and have a picnic dinner. I don't know. Break it up. Let's stop the mundane. Let's create capacity for aliveness. Oh, so nice. So they were the 3 major shifts from a VIP mentee. And, it's faith, it's autonomy, it's fun. Faith asks, what have you outgrown? Autonomy asks, where are you hesitating? Where are you not making decisions? Oh, that one feels edgy for me. I'm going to end this podcast and then go sit and journal on that one. And fun asks, where have you become too rigid? Boring. Now, these are not strategic tactical upgrades. These are identity upgrades. And identity is what sustains and fuels your growth. If your strategy feels really solid, but you feel stuck, flat, or restless, it's not a funnel problem. It's a leadership edge. So here's what I want you to do. Choose one small shift today, release something, decide something, or try something playful. And if you want to do all 3 because you're an overachiever, you go to town, girlfriend. I'm not here to limit you to just one. But small shifts create ripple effects, and ripple effects change everything. I often share with my team even just the importance of when they go on a fresh walk, because we talk about my fresh framework a lot, not just in my programs, but inside of my team as well. And one of the things is going on a fresh walk. And we even talk about the importance of walking a different path. Like, turn around a different corner on your next walk. You never know what's going to be there, who you might meet, what you might see. Change creates ripple effects. So break the pattern, create the change. If this episode resonated, I'd love to hear from you. So please head to Apple Podcasts and leave me a review, a 5-star review. Tell me what you love about it, or tell me how this has impacted you. I'd love to hear. And come on over to my Instagram at Tracy Harris Co. and send me a DM. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. Let's have a little chat. Or you could just share this episode on your Instagram or with your email list, or text it to a friend, to someone who is ready for her next level. And I will see you on another episode of the Mums with Hustle podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.